What's up, my Yu-Gi Bros? I'm your host, the one, the only, the RJB0. This is not going to be Yu-Gi-Oh! And Business Casual, I understand. I'm actually fairly surprised that this is Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pants. I'm sorry about the noise. This is the first time I have seen the light of day in like 48 hours. It's finals week. And speaking of finals week, I want to talk a little bit about having time to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Because if I'm going to be honest with you, the time investment is the biggest deterrent for me from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitively. Money is not that big of an issue in comparison, because if you are a smart trader, you can get your cards early ahead of time. You can make good trade deals, making sure that you are looking into the future with your trades, so that you build up a binder that is an investment, not just a response to hype and things like that. So money isn't necessarily that big of an issue, but time is a big problem. And actually, if you think about it, this is a little economics trick that I've talked about before. Time can actually be worth a lot of money, because time is valuable. You spend your time, at your job, or doing other things that are important to you. And so you can actually measure time in terms of money. This is something we do very frequently in economics, and one of the easiest ways to do it is talk about time in terms of minimum wage. And so if you were to make minimum wage over the time that you were working on something, that you were doing something, what would you be giving up, essentially? So if I were to think about competitive play and going to an event, the time investment is actually a lot bigger than the actual money that I end up spending, aside from travel expenses and things like that. I think I usually spend something like, 30 hours testing for an event. I spend a lot of time getting ready for it in other ways. The event itself is going to be 20 or so hours, and the night before I spend just the entire day working on my deck, preparing for it, trading and things like that. So the total time investment for me for one event is like 50 hours, which is a significant amount of time, especially if you look at it in terms of minimum wage. Here I live in Washington, and so I am blessed with a $10 minimum wage. So that's a $500 investment in time. That's a lot of time. And so it's very difficult for a person who is particularly busy, case in point, to get into the game competitively. And I totally understand that. And so that's why I wanted to talk today about how you can optimize the time that you put into the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! I have a structure in my life that allows me to do it, and it's something that I'm just testing out now because I just realized that this is something that's important to me, and that I don't really have the "yes, I'm conquering the hill," and that is why I am currently out of breath while talking to you. I really need to get into better shape. Anyway, I have this structure that is the way that I can play the game competitively and have the time that I need, which is that I build in at least 2 hours in the week outside of locals for dedicated play, where the Yu-Gi-Oh! That I play on Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, on Dueling Book, on Skype, just testing hands, has a specific purpose, where that time is not just me playing around. I set aside that time for working on things that I need to improve on in the game, or improve my deck, or something like that. So that time is specially set aside for Yu-Gi-Oh! And for competitive play. And that's not a huge time investment. 2 hours in a week is not bad, but if you're really focused about it, you can actually use that time to get all of the practice and testing in that you need. Now, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a leisure time activity, and so you don't have to use all of your time that you have devoted to Yu-Gi-Oh! Being super serious competitive about it, but this is a great way to make sure that you have the time that you need to test and do the improvements that you need to make in your play. I'm gonna run across this street here. And so I do try to avoid dicking around with Yu-Gi-Oh! outside of that. You know, I make my videos, I will occasionally film duels, which I've been doing a little bit recently, and getting ready to publish them, so keep an eye out for that. But I do that in the interest of advancing my ability to play the game. That is the time that I put aside for Yu-Gi-Oh! So it isn't just frictional time. It isn't a time waster or a time sink. It is something that I specifically devote thought and attention to. So that is my thought on how to use your time most effectively in order to play competitively, even if you're busy. I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts though, because this is a personal struggle for me. I am suddenly in the middle of just tons of traffic at like a weird edge of town. So that's all that noise. Thank you all for watching. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. If you didn't, let me know why in the comment section below. Of course, subscribe for more decks discussion, analysis, and general Yu-Gi-Oh! Shenanigans. Thank you all for watching. I am your host, the one, the only, the RJB0, and I got a jet. See you guys.